Hey everyone, it's Matt aka Tech Ranger, and today we're going to take a look at my latest load order for Skyrim on the Xbox One, a closer look, April 2020 version. Now if you want to see a snapshot of my load order, I do have one on the channel already, so if you're not into just watching a video about just the load order itself and going through it one by one, then you can go check out that one. That's more of a snapshot. It's an 11-minute snapshot, but still nonetheless it'll be a lot shorter than this one might be. So if you don't want to go through these one by one like we're going to do in this video, definitely go check that out. And if not, you can go and browse some of the other Skyrim mod videos on the channel. I will link them throughout this video. So without further ado, let's jump in. And if you like this sort of thing, definitely feel free to subscribe. I know a lot of you watch the videos that don't actually subscribe, and that's okay, but if you happen to like this kind of thing, then maybe consider subscribing. First mod on the list is the unofficial Skyrim Special Edition patch. It is a mouthful to say, but I pretty much have it. Any load order I make, this is the first thing I download, and I put it right at the top because the description says so, and I mean, why wouldn't you, right? I mean, it's a patch. If you don't know already, this mod fixes a lot of the bugs and gameplay things that you might have actually encountered on your first playthrough of Skyrim way back when. Fixes everything up and makes it a little neat. I have heard reports that this actually causes some issues here and there, but if you have anything that you notice and want to share in the comments down below, let me know. But for the time being, this is something that I have to have in my load order. Now this is a mod that's more personal preference. I like the smoothness of the menus in Skyrim. There are a couple mods of this variation, but I chose this one and it seems to be running okay. So I put this at the top right under the unofficial Skyrim Special Edition patch, and it seems to be working okay there. Basically this just makes the menus pretty smooth in the game and makes them 60 frames per second, which is smooth. Now this next mod is the Skyrim main menu replacer, and of course because I put it in a video and there might be some issues with it because I did that. I don't know if it's just my luck or what. I've heard some reports of people in the comments saying that this may have been crashing their game, or at least me theorizing that it may be crashing their game, and I think it might be because there is some animation with this, with the snow dropping down when your game first starts up. It might be conflicting with something in this particular load order. Obviously you can keep this in if you're not having any issues at all. If it is crashing, I would suggest maybe just chucking this one. Basically what it does is it just replaces the main menu of Skyrim with a nice little screen with some snow dropping down, which looks pretty cool, but if it's crashing your game, maybe get rid of it. Next on the list is 50% more perk points. This basically just adds an extra perk point every 2 levels, so it gives you an extra point to spend, which is kind of nice. And then the rich merchants of Skyrim really makes it so all the merchants have ability to take your loot off your hands afterwards and give you some cash for it. If you have a ton and your merchant only has like 1,000 gold and you have way more stuff, it's kind of a bummer. So this way the merchants will actually have enough gold to give you if you have a bunch of loot. Ars Metallica is a crafting mod that I love, and it's something that just makes sense to me. I used to play a lot of RuneScape back in the day, and if you did something like woodcutting or smithing, you'd get experience for it. So this mod adds that and so much more, like crafting your own arrows and lockpicks and that sort of thing. So if that sounds interesting to you, I would definitely use that, and this has been a staple in my load order for a long time. Now the above mods were more patches and kind of overhauls, so now we get to kind of the weather mods. So first up I have Mythical Ages. You all know what it does. I've looked at it in videos past. And then also we've got Natural Clouds, and then Arctic, the frost effects, which I actually just looked at and I'm kind of testing it out right now, but I've used it more than enough to at least recommend checking it out. Natural Clouds is also another one I've used for quite a bit, and it's been something that I really enjoy and will probably be a staple of my future load orders as well. Rebalance Level List is a mod that I've actually had for quite a while as well, but this one I've moved around a lot, so depending on what your load order is like, I usually try to keep this one towards the top. And this one, it kind of wound up under my weather mods, which seems to be working, or I haven't seen any issues, but I'm sure I'll move it again in the next load order just to kind of keep things fresh, and not only that, but also maybe run more smoothly, because as you'll see when we get to the bottom, I actually do have some performance mods that I'm not not really sure what to use and where to kind of put them. So they're just kind of sitting at the bottom. This might be one that also goes there, but we'll see. Next up is the reverb and ambiance overhaul, which we have looked at before in a previous Skyrim video. And if you haven't checked that out already, definitely do that. And then also check out Sounds of Skyrim, because that is a video that I made when I first started doing Skyrim mods, and I will link that above. That actually works really well with this mod, and you're actually going to want to put those near each other in the load order. And again, like, it might work for you in a different spot, but for me, this is where it works, right here. And to finish out audio overhaul mods, we added the guard dialogue overhaul next, and really that just modifies a lot of the guard speech in the game to give them a little bit more to say than, you know, taking an arrow to the knee. And that will round out the audio mods, and then we get to Old Kingdom, which I'm still planning on making a video about.
What do you want?
It's not that simple.
What do you want?
This is all of those mods, and I put them together in the order that the description says to put them all in. So like, you have the original Sleeping Skyrim, there's a patch for that to go along with Old Kingdom. So you're going to want to put the patch underneath that. Same thing with the armor overhaul. You're going to want to put that Sleeping Skyrim patch right under it. So that's kind of the way mods work with patches generally. I would read the descriptions very close, and with any mods that modify a lot of things, generally you're going to get some conflicts going on, especially when we get down to the graphics mods. You'll see that those kind of have to be in a particular order, or you're going to have some issues. Moving on, we got the armor variants expansion, which I don't know a ton about yet because I'm still testing it. You saw in the spreadsheet for my load order video that I made initially, you'll see that I had it marked as being tested. And then we get to the part of the load order which kind of towed the line between armor mods and weapon mods, and kind of merging the two, but then also we have something like the character overhauls, which actually modify existing characters in the game and their armors and clothing. We've looked at more kill moves and decapitations before, but this is kind of where we get into the overhaul gameplay mods. So I have this one, auto-equipped shields to back, which we've looked at before, and the girly animation, which obviously if you're not playing as a female in the game, you're not really going to notice it that much, but this adds more of a feminine walk to the females in the game, but it is something that modifies animations. So if you don't want that in there messing around with your existing load order, then maybe don't throw that in there, because right under it I have the immersive animations, which we've also looked at before. Attacking with weapons, walking with weapons, sneaking, that sort of thing. That's all included in this immersive animations pack. I have some examples in my first ever mod video for Skyrim, and you can go check that out by clicking the link above. Next, we get to lighting and graphics, and enhanced lights and FX is something I use pretty much all the time. There's an interior version, and then there's an exterior version. I think maybe the exterior version might be messing around with Mythical Ages a little bit, basically because Mythical Ages does do a lot of lighting outside. That might be something that you might need to disable or maybe take out for the time being, but I like the look of it. Divine Smim is basically the static mesh improvement mod, just the Divine version. I basically just added this in because it was less space. That way it gives me that feel of static mesh improvement mod without taking up almost a gig. And then we have the enhanced texture detail, which we've looked at before in previous video, and also the high poly project. So we take those graphics mods, which are dealing mainly with objects in the game, and then we get to Skyland, which is going to be your texture mod. Now this is my texture mod at the moment. Obviously whatever texture mod you're using, whether it's noble or divine or something like that, you would want to put this here, at least in terms of the way my load order is set up. Yours might not be like this, but this is where I would put texture mods. The remaining texture mods here are kind of additions to Skyland. They do modify things that are in-game already. The True Bark textures, HD photorealistic ivy, those are things that are addition to Skyland that Skyland doesn't actually touch. So I put that underneath just in case there are any conflicts. This way it overwrites anything in Skyland that it might conflict with. I actually thought it might be a good idea to put any grass mods underneath the texture mods, but for some reason these two in particular, Vedasprom and Skyland, might actually have some conflicting things in them. So I would suggest moving Vedasprom up above Skyland. Someone actually commented this in a video a while back. It actually may have been the load order video. If you commented that, comment down below and let me know. Really appreciate it. Move that above Skyland if you're having any issues, because I think that might be the case. Vadasbrum adds really cool grasses to the game, and it's definitely something that I've been using quite a bit, but if it is conflicting with something, you might want to think about moving it around a little bit. We got the lockpicking interface redone. This is something, again, nothing that Skyland actually covers, so it's adding to it, changing something that's in the game already. That is the lockpicking interface. I thought it'd be cool to mess around with this one. This is also something I've been kind of testing out. Didn't put it in a video yet. You might see it in the future, but basically all it does is change the lockpicking interface. And next is Fire HD, which we have looked at before, and same thing here, just something that's adding on to Skyland. I consider it a graphics mod first and foremost. And then we also have Embers, which again, kind of the same thing. Because embers go with fire quite a bit, I put embers on after, just in case for some reason there's something from Fire HD messing around there. And after that we have Just Ice, which we have looked at before, and same thing with that. It just kind of adds to Skyland and can overwrite anything that Skyland might do. And as you can see there also, we had the enhanced blood textures, which I put the dark texture one right underneath, that way it overwrites the first one, but you need the dark textures and the enhanced blood textures, the regular one, to go together, so that actually does modify it. And then we have realistic water 2, which I might have to actually move around because I don't think I'm getting that, or it's conflicting with something to keep in mind when you're looking at water mod. And then to finish out the graphics for that, we have the lamppost of Skyrim. Now this next part should be pretty familiar if you've watched the channel or watched my Beauty of Skyrim videos, or videos that are looking at characters in game. So I have these all laid out, Divine Skins being first. That's the one that you want at the top, or at least that's how it's working out in my load order. And then I have stuff like the hairs right on after that, and then eyes, so that overrides anything above. And then we have the improved close phase mask, which is actually something not necessarily character based, but I figure since characters wear them and it is kind of clothing armor, then maybe it should kind of go with the character mod. And then I have Immersive Citizens, which I reread the description of this one quite a bit, but for right now it's doing alright where it is, and I'm not sure if this is the best placement for it, but I have it lower in my load order right now. And basically what that does is it makes the citizens, well, more immersive. The main thing with this mod is that the Immersive Citizens makes it so that the AI in the game actually has kind of like a fear instinct. One example would be if you get in a fight and there's a bunch of soldiers fighting you or something and you're just killing it, then maybe one of them might run away because they realize like, hey, this guy is destroying all of us. And then I have stuff like the performance mods, insignificant object remover, and then a little bit of a different thing here is the Skyrim creature overhaul. It said to put this pretty low in the load order, so I wanted to do that. For the time being, it hasn't really messed around with anything. I have gotten a few drop frames here and there, but I can't really tell if it's geared towards this mod or not. I'll probably do a little bit more testing with it. I did mark that on the spreadsheet as well, so again, another thing to keep in mind when you're looking at this load order. Now continuing with the performance mods, we have the XP32 Maximum Skeleton and Realistic Ragdolls. This, I like to say, gives a little bit more flexibility to the NPCs of Skyrim. It does what it says, but then also has quite a few other things in there as well that really just kind of round out the gaming experience altogether in Skyrim. And this is something that I actually started using because another mod up above actually kind of required it, or at least one of my last load order did. And I've actually just been kind of using it as part of every load order since, and we've looked at a similar mod in Fallout 4 as well. This works well in Skyrim, and it might actually be required by some mods that you may look at dealing with characters. And to round this out, we have mods that are required to be at the bottom of the load order. So I have the Master Skin Fix, which should fix any skin seam issues going on with any of your character mods or anything that changes appearances. This is something I've had in for a while. I've noticed it doesn't really take effect right when you install it and download it, so you might need to do like a hard reset for it to really work, but it should match the skin of your body with your face, which makes perfect sense, but to look less video gamey. So if you're having that issue, definitely check this one out. We have the final two performance mods, and that's the increased game stability and TLS Skyrim FPS Overdrive. The Overdrive mod you definitely want to put all the way at the bottom because it does say so in the description, but the increased game stability, it kind of said the same thing. At the same time, I didn't really know if it should go under the overdrive. I haven't really seen a lot of performance increases. I had FPS overdrive in for the longest time, and I think that by itself was actually better. I think the increased game stability actually changes more with the load times. It's very inconsistent. Sometimes I'll be waiting in a load screen for 40 seconds. Other times it'll be just really fast. So I'm not sure what the problem is there, or if I just need to scrap everything and start anew. I just thought I'd put that in there because I think it might be pretty good information to know when you're setting up your performance mods. And that's going to do it for this very long look at my load order, going through each mod and just kind of giving my 2 cents on why I put it in a certain place, or maybe what one mod does that you might not know. Relevant links will be in the description down below, as well as that spreadsheet with the full load order and all the links in there, so you can easily go and check them out, because sometimes the search just doesn't work that great on Bethesda.net. Little bit of a plug, but I do follow the modding tips for beginners video that I made a while back, which I will link above. This has some really good information in it, I think, and piggybacks off of the Bethesda.net recommended load order and how to set that up, which is also linked on that video as well. I kind of stray a little bit away from that in this load order. Kind of found one that works and just finessed it from there. The only thing I'm really trying to figure out is the performance mods and where to put those and which ones to actually use. I think I may have thrown 1 or 2 in there that maybe doesn't work too well with my load order, so that's something that I will kind of refine and try to add to and take away as needed, so I have the best running Skyrim game that I can have. One last thing that I want to end this video on is that by all means this is not a perfect load order. There are issues, and I know that I have not created the perfect load orders. I don't pretend to have the perfect load order. That is something that I definitely want to try to get close to. Is it an obtainable thing? I don't really think so, but you can get close. We're going to look at some cool mods on this channel, and we're going to post some load orders and also help you with any load order concerns or questions, and I will try to answer comments, and hopefully everyone else that watches these videos that have some insight to things jump in and help as well, because I think this could be a really cool community, at least in terms of these mod series that I'm doing, to really kind of help out everyone, because we're all just trying to play these older games and have a lot of fun with them. It's just a really cool thing that all these mod authors have thought the same thing and actually started making really cool mods for us all to check out. That's it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody have a great day, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye.